But what we can't deny is that Shador Sanders is a bad brother. This brother's something special, okay? His poise in the pocket, his athleticism, his willingness to stand in there amongst the giants and take hits, take punishment. Got to give credit where credit is due. He only got sacked once, but he was running for his life half the damn time he was out there. But his ability to continue to make plays under duress, I believe, cements him as a surefire first-round pick and one of the top 2 quarterbacks that's going to go.
Stephen A. Smith just rocked the NFL world with his latest take on the Cleveland Browns quarterback battle. Forget the viral clips, the flashy plays, and the polished media appearances. Stephen A. isn't looking at the hype. He's cutting through the noise and going straight for the heart of the matter. And what he's saying? Well, it's shaking up the entire quarterback conversation. While Gabriel has shown flashes of what he can do in the NFL, Stephen A. believes the true star of this competition is Shador Sanders, the 5th-round pick out of Colorado. But don't get it twisted, this isn't just about talent. Stephen A. went deeper, pointing out how owners and coaches are trying to tear Shedeur down and how the narrative around him has been unfairly skewed from the start. Let's break it down. At first glance, Gabriel, the 3rd-round pick out of Oregon, seemed like the clear frontrunner for the Browns' starting job. He came into the preseason with all the right credentials: the quick release, the steady rhythm passing, the ability to make plays within the structure of an offense. He was looking like the ideal quarterback for Kevin Stefanski's system. Gabriel, standing at 5 feet 11 inches, may not have the ideal size, but his quick decision-making and accuracy had many analysts and scouts confident in his to adapt to the NFL. Gabriel's preseason debut came on against the Eagles. At first glance, his performance was solid: 12 for 18, 142 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. But here's where things started to unravel. The interception he threw was a killer. A rookie mistake that ended up as a pick 6. Gabriel was trying to throw the ball away, but he ended up making an ill-advised throw that got picked off and taken to the house. That's a killer for any quarterback, especially one who's battling for a starting spot in the NFL. Gabriel didn't have the worst performance, but that mistake left a lingering bad taste in the mouths of many analysts. Now, enter Shador Sanders, a 5th-round pick, a kid from Colorado who had largely been overlooked in the draft process. He wasn't the safe pick. He wasn't the polished product, but what he was a guy with unreal potential. And in his preseason debut against the Packers on August 9, 2025, he put everyone on notice. Sanders went 15 for 20 for 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, and, here's the key, no turnovers, no sacks. His performance was a statement, and it wasn't just the stats. It was how he handled the pressure. Despite constant blitzes and a shaky offensive line, Sanders stood tall in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield and delivering throws with precision. And when the pocket collapsed, he did what all great quarterbacks do. He moved. He extended plays, kept his cool, and made throws on the run that were nothing short of impressive.
But I do think that you walk away going, man, the operation was clean. He looked comfortable. You saw athleticism. The decision-making was spot on. He had 2 or 3 drops even in the midst of the stat line. So, this play is awesome to me because it shows reaction. He remains a passer. He doesn't bail. He stays in that really good pocket of throwing presence.
Shedeur Sanders wasn't just playing quarterback. He was making it look easy. And for many analysts, including Stephen A. Smith, that was the turning point in the debate. On the episode of First Take, Smith didn't hold back. Shedeur showed me starter traits, he said. Dylan showed me backup potential. For now. Stephen A. wasn't saying that Gabriel was a lost cause, but his point was clear. When you compare the 2 quarterbacks, Sanders has all the traits of a future NFL starter. He's got the arm, the mobility, the decision-making, and the calm under pressure. Gabriel, on the other hand, while solid, showed rookie flaws that were hard to ignore. Smith's take didn't just stop there. He wasn't just comparing stats or performances. He was talking about what it really takes to succeed in the NFL. It's not enough to be good in practice or during a controlled environment. When the pressure's on and the game's on the line, A quarterback needs to show they can deliver in the clutch. Shador Sanders showed that in his debut. Gabriel didn't. And for Stephen A., that's a huge factor. But Stephen A. also brought up something else that has been bubbling under the surface for some time. How, despite all of Sanders' success, owners and coaches in the NFL are still looking for ways to knock him down. This isn't just about football. This is about perception, about how the league views Shedeur Sanders.
But I'm going to answer this question by saying Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been starting against he's been playing against the third unit. He's fourth on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all.
The narrative around Shedeur has always been a bit distorted. Some have tried to write him off as just another kid trying to ride the wave of his famous father, Deion Sanders. It's a narrative that's been easy to latch onto, especially for people who prefer to focus on the glam side of things. The flashy clothes, the big-name connections, the media presence. It's easy to overlook a guy when you're distracted by his swag, his brand, or his social media following. But Stephen A. is here to tell you that Shedeur Sanders is not just a product of Deion's name. He's a football player in his own right, and his talent and ability on the field are undeniable. And this is where Stephen A. really goes to bat for Sanders. Don't sleep on the Colorado kid just because Deion's shadow looms large. He's got that hurts-like grit, Stephen A. said. It's true. Shedeur isn't just riding the coattails of his dad's fame. He's making a name for himself, one throw at a time. But the reality is that there are still people who want to dismiss him, who want to see him fail, whether it's because of his last name, his confidence, or the way he handles himself on the field. There are those who want to tear him down before he even has the chance to prove himself. And that's not something Stephen A. is going to let slide. But let's be real. No one's more aware of this than Shedeur Sanders himself. He's been under the microscope since day one. Everything he does is scrutinized in a way that no other quarterback has to deal with. And yet, despite all the noise, he keeps delivering. He doesn't let the distractions affect his game. He doesn't let the haters get to him. And in this world, in this game, that's something that sets him apart from a lot of other quarterbacks. Here's the thing that everyone needs to understand. Shedeur Sanders doesn't need to prove anything to anyone except himself. He doesn't need to rely on his last name to get ahead. He's already doing that with his play on the field. He's not some Instagram influencer or TikTok star who just happened to get lucky. He's a quarterback, and he's got the skills to back it up.
And then he's going to come out this time around. I had nothing to do with this pick. I didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, that wasn't me. That was GM Barry right there. That wasn't me. The owner sitting up there. It wasn't me. Wasn't me. Yo. It wasn't me. That's what he was saying. And I'm saying, really? That's what we doing now? That's what you're doing? You're trying to disassociate yourself from a quarterback that's on your roster at this particular moment in time. You give him no first team reps.
But here's the kicker. Even though Shedeur Sanders has everything it takes to be a star, he's still being doubted. He's still being written off by some people in the league. And Stephen A. isn't the only one calling it out. There are people in positions of power, owners, coaches, scouts, who are still trying to knock Sanders down even when he's showing them that he's the real deal. It's not enough for them to just acknowledge his talent. They want to keep him in that box. But Shedeur is too good for that. He's too talented, too sharp, and too focused to let anyone define him by their outdated standards. This is where the game changes. If Sanders continues to play at this level, there will be no denying him. But for now, he's still fighting the uphill battle, proving himself not only to the coaches and owners, but to the critics who have already written him off. And that's where Stephen A. Smith's words carry so much weight. It's not just about what Shedeur can do on the field. It's about how he's being viewed, how he's being judged, and how he's had to fight through all the noise to show that he belongs in the NFL conversation. The fact that Shedeur Sanders has shown this level of maturity, poise, and skill at this stage in his career says everything about his future. This isn't just a kid with a famous dad. This is a quarterback with all the tools to make it in the NFL. He's proven that time and time again. Now it's just a matter of when the rest of the league catches up, and when they do, they'll realize one thing. Shedeur Sanders isn't just a backup, He's a starter in the making, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop that. Stephen A. was right to speak out. He wasn't just defending Shador Sanders' talent. He was calling out the biases, the perceptions, and the outdated views that are still holding this kid back. Shedor's not just playing football, he's changing the narrative. And for anyone who still doubts him, well, they're in for a wake-up call. Because Shador Sanders isn't just the future of the Cleveland Browns, he's the future of the NFL. And the sooner everyone acknowledges that, the better. So, what do you think? Is Shador Sanders really the future of the Cleveland Browns? Or do you think Gabriel can still make a comeback in this quarterback battle? Who do you feel has the higher ceiling as an NFL quarterback? Gabriel with his quick release and rhythm passing, or Sanders with his poise under pressure and playmaking ability?